Okay, let's get into this, folks. January 11th, 2026. It's a Sunday. I'm in Atlantic City. We're going to cap this Bills versus Jaguars game. Wager Detective went 3-0 yesterday. You can find the timestamps on Twitter. You can find the videos that posted for the games that I talked about on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube under Wager Detective. You could also find me on Instagram. You could also find me on Facebook, all under Wager Detective. Again, folks, hold Wager Detective's hand as he leads you through the jungle of sports handicapping, all the pitfalls that it takes to sidestep. 3-0 yesterday. We'll get into that later on. The video is already up on YouTube on the recap. Click the like button and subscribe. I want to get into this cap. My blood is running cold with chills just getting ready to talk about this game. Bills versus Jaguars. Let's get into it. The Bills versus Jaguars head-to-head. Last 9 meetings, the Bills are not 5-4 against the Jaguars. Between their plus and minus divided by 9, they're plus 5.44 points per game, and the average score is 48.6 points per game in those games. The Bills at the Jaguars, they're 3-4 in their last 7. The Bills are plus 1 point differential in the last 7 at the Jaguars. The average score in those games, 43 points per game. If we look at the last 5 between the Bills and the Jaguars, the Bills are 3-2. Between their plus and minus, they're plus 7.8 points per game, and the average score is 42.1 points per game. Now, that line is a little skewed because last year, the Bills absolutely demolished the Jaguars. They won by 37, as you see here. That September 23rd game, they demolished the Jaguars. Gotta believe that's on the mind of the Jaguars in this game, all right? Now, this is where the cap gets a little bit interesting before we get into both teams' metrics, offensive and defensive. Listen to this stat. I dug this up. This is Wager Detective. The Bills, since 1996 in wild card games, they're 0-5 in their last 5 wild card games. 4 of those games have been on the road. In those games, they've lost by 3, 7, 6, 7, and 3, which is minus 26 points, losing by an average of 5.2 points per game in their last 5 wild card games. The Bills 0-5. 4 of those games on the road. The average score in those 5 wild card games in their last 5, 38 points per game. We know in this game, the total set at 51.5. You look at the numbers I just talked about between their head-to-head and their last 5 wild card games for the Bills. I'm already leaning towards the under. Let's get into the cap, guys. Let's see what this Buffalo Bills team has done this year. Sean McDermott, good coach. Don't get me wrong, not a bad coach. Just can't win the big game. They're 4th in the NFL in points for, averaging 28 points a game. Pretty good SRS, but when you look at the SOS, look at that, minus 2.30. Not good, okay? Schedule has not been great. You look at offensively, yards, 4th in the NFL. 4th in first down for the Bills. 29 passing touchdowns, puts them at 7th best in the NFL. They only given up 19 passing touchdowns, puts them at 6th best defense in the NFL there. Rushing touchdowns, 30. That puts them at number 1 in the NFL, but if you look at what they've given up 24 rushing touchdowns. That puts them at dead last, almost, practically. So, a tale of 2 worlds there between offense and defense. And if we look at what they do offensively, the Bills, average time, plays, yards, points per drive, all in the top 10. They're averaging 2.70 points per drive. That puts them at 2nd best in the NFL. But if you look at defensively, time, plays, and yards per drive, 1, 3, and 8, respectively there. And they are they're a bend but don't break defense. Look, they're 13th in the NFL. Not bad at giving up points per drive with 2.09 points per drive. If we look at 3rd down conversions, look at that, 4th in the NFL, but opposite side on the defense. They're 24th in the NFL in giving up 3rd down conversions. But if you look at their red zone efficiency, 3rd best in the NFL. They're plus 15 touchdowns against their opponents this year. Once they get in the red zone, they're 43 touchdowns. They've given up 28 in the red zone on defense. That 28 touchdowns out of 47 attempts puts them at 19th best efficiency in the NFL. Josh Allen, we know about Josh Allen. 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions though. You'd like to see that number below 10, but not bad. Having a pretty good year there. He has been sacked 40 times on the year, so teams can get to him. He does have 4 fourth quarter comebacks, 4 game-winning drives, and he did make the Pro Bowl. That is Josh Allen. If you look at on the ground, look at James Cook. Led the NFL in yards. That's what the bold lettering is there. 1,600 yards on the ground, 12 touchdowns. You look at Josh Allen. He could help out too on the ground. 14 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen. Those guys combined for 26. And then you look at Ty Johnson. He chipped in for 3 there as well. James Cook, 95 yards per game. Led the NFL there on the ground. Receiving. Who's getting it done for him? They got a number of guys. They got multiple guys with 4 touchdowns. Dawson Knox, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, all with 4 touchdowns. Dalton Kincaid with 5. Jackson Halls with 3. They got 29 in the air. If we look at kicking, if the game gets close, they got Matt Prater. Matt Prater is going to be the guy, 18 for 20 field goals, 90%, not bad. 46 of 49 on extra points. Okay, 84 kickoffs. Only 13% of those touchbacks, 61 yards on the kickoff average. Okay? Defensively, what do? Interceptions, 13, not great, not bad. Pretty decent. They do have an interception return for a touchdown. If we look at sacks, they got 36, not bad, not great. It's in the top 15 in the NFL, not bad. And if you 84 tackles for loss, not really that high. Decent. Quarterback hits 92. Okay there. So a decent team. And again, all those numbers are against one of the bottom half schedules in the NFL. Haven't played the toughest of schedules. Let's take a look at their game schedules here. Let's take a look at who they've played this year as we look. I mean, they had to play Miami twice. They played the Jets twice. They had trouble with Tampa Bay. If you remember that game, they almost lost that one. They lost at Houston, a good team. They beat up on a good Pittsburgh team in Pittsburgh. Beat a Cincinnati team that didn't make the playoffs. They revenged the New England loss, won by 4. And New England, worst SOS in football. And then you look at their last 3 games of the year. They played Cleveland and the Jets, and they lost to Philly at home, where they couldn't get the 2-point conversion against Philly. So I look at this team and I'm like, they got 19 turnovers, 10 by interception. Defensively, they are +1 in the turnover category. They got a ball hawking group over there. 13 interceptions to 7 fumble recoveries for them. And again, we know Josh Allen's been sacked a lot of times this year, right? 40 times. So teams are getting home on him. And if you look at them, how many times have they created sacks? So they're +4 in the sacks. They've sacked their opponents 36 times, but they're -4 in the sack department there. Okay? And teams, 24 rushing touchdowns against them, right? And 19 passing touchdowns. So not bad there. They're better against the pass than they are the run. So that is the Bills. Let's take a look at this Jaguars team. They'll be playing today. First-year coach Liam Cohen, he came in rocking and rolling. Jaguars 13-4, having a pretty solid year. You look at them; they're 11th in yards, 7th in first downs offensively, 7th in passing touchdowns. That 29. But you look at their opponents; they've given up 25 passing touchdowns, so they're +4 in passing touchdowns. But again, they definitely look at the schedule, strength of schedule. And look at their SRS, better than the Bills. So if we look at rushing, they got 22 rushing touchdowns, 4th best in the NFL. Not as good as the Bills, but they can put the ball in the ground. But look at what they do. They've only given up 13 rushing touchdowns this year. That puts them at 8th best in the NFL. Very, very solid for them. Number 1 in the NFL in starting time per drive. They're starting off at the 33. And if you look at time, plays, yards, and points per drive, not real high as far as the time play in yards on the bottom half of the NFL there. But once they do get in the red zone and they finish off drives strong, 8th best in the NFL with 2.37 points per drive. But look at that, 5th best in the NFL in giving up points per drive on a 1.7 points per drive for their opponents. Very, very solid. Top 10 defensively in time per drive, 4th, plays per drive, 6th, and yards per drive, 7th. So defensively, they don't bend and they don't break. You're not holding the ball long. You're not getting a lot of plays off, less than 6 plays per drive, and you're getting less than a couple first downs per drive. So less than 3 first downs per drive for the Jaguars. Stall's drive against them. We look at third down conversions, 39%, puts them 19th, not real good there. They are top 10 in the NFL in red zone percentage. And you look at that, they're plus 14 in red zone touchdowns to their opponents. They got 42, and they've given up 28 red zones, so they're plus 14 there, very solid. So they're right there with the Bills. They've played a tougher schedule, and they're at home in this game. So you'd like to see the splits there. I would like to see, as good as this site is, Pro Football Reference, I'd like to see them have the splits there for their on those type of stats. Trevor Lawrence, not bad year. 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. You'd like to see him get better there. Okay, 11.8 on the ADOT, yards per catch. He's been sacked 41 times. So teams are getting to the quarterback just as much as far as sacks. But again, it's happening against the Bills, against a worse schedule than what the Jaguars seen. So you can expect it against the Jaguars because they've played a tougher set of opponents. You look at Trevor Lawrence, 5 game-winning drives, 3 fourth-quarter comebacks. Very, very solid. On the ground, Trevor Lawrence has gotten in for 9 on the ground. Tootin's gotten in for 5. And then Travis Etienne with 7 touchdowns. He is the security blanket there as far as getting first downs on third down or second down conversions, okay? Now, if we look at who's receiving, they got a bunch of guys too over here, guys. Etienne with 6 touchdowns. Parker Washington with 5. Bretton Strange with 3. Jacoby Myers with 3. Tim Patrick with 3. 29 through the air, guys. They definitely, 51 touchdowns from scrimmage. Very, very good. They do have 14 fumbles, but if you look at that, they had 5 in one game. If you look at Trevor Lawrence, he had 5 fumbles this year. He's going to have to clean that up there. They cannot have turnovers in this game. Kicking, we already know about Cam Little. There's no question that the Jaguars have the better field goal kicking. Here, Cam Little. Look at this, guys. 68 on the long this year. That's an NFL record. Got to be. 30 for 34 in field goals made, 8 for 10 for 50 plus, 8 for 10 for 40 for 49, and 50 for 51 on extra points. The guy's solid. 38% of his kicks are landing for the touchback, way more than the 13% for Prater and the Bills. So, comes down to a close game. I'm trusting the Jaguars more. Jaguars are at home. Jaguars better SRS. Jaguars tougher schedule. The only thing the Bills got going in this name is the name value. So I believe the reason why there's so much money on the Jaguars is because the sharps are on it. That's a sharp lean. They jumped on it. They got on it. I'm trusting them there. That's sharp money. Now, if we look at defense and fumbles, look at this, guys. 22 interceptions, guys, compared to the Bills' 13. They're a ball-hawking team. Okay, 2 interceptions for a touchdown return. They doubled what the Bills have done on the interception return. Okay, 11 forced fumbles, 15 fumble recoveries, 32 sacks, solid, 77 tackles for loss, and 95 quarterback hits. Comparable to the Bills, but again, strength of schedule. And let's take a look at that schedule and let's see who they played. Okay, now, you look at what they've done. 18 turnovers on the year, but 31 defensive, forced 31 turnovers on defense for the Jaguars, 22 of them coming by way of interception. That is absolutely fantastic, guys. And 4 of those came against San Francisco, which is a playoff team. He had 3 here and then 3 here. Okay, in those 2 games against the Jets and the Colts, but okay, they haven't gone too many games this year without creating a turnover. They only gone 3 games this year without creating a turnover, and when they do happen, they seem to come in multiples. They only had one last week against Tennessee, but they cleared the hurdle there. They're on a win streak, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've won 8 in a row, right? And 1 playoff team, 2 playoff teams. 2 of those were playoff teams. The other one's not. And if we look at what they've done this year at home, let's take a look at the over-unders and what's happened at home for them this year. Under 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5, 2-5, 3-5, 3-6. So 3 over and 6 under in Jaguars home games this year, okay? They have a couple overtime games, but look, even in overtime games, beat the Raiders by 1. Overtime at the Arizona, they win by 3. They've played in games tough at the end when it matters most. So, guys, if I'm going to look at this cap based off of the Bills and what we started off this cap with about the Bills being 0-5 in their last 5 wild card games, 4 of those coming on the road, and those games averaging 38 points a game, and the history between the Bills and the Jaguars at home, I think this is going to be an under game. I think the Jaguars are going to win a sticky type game. I think that it can max out at like a 27-24 game, and you could cover by that hook. That 51.5 is a key number. Or it's not sticky, and the Jaguars win by 11 and win 31-20, and the game goes under. 27-24, 29-22. What else are we looking at? 28-23. Right? All those can lead towards an under, and that's going to be Wager Detective's call here. My stronger lean, I'm going to stick with the Jaguars to win this game. I know that the line kind of got away from us here as far as what we want it to be and where it's at. Okay, so we're at the Jaguars minus 120, minus 1.5. I feel comfortable laying that juice on the laying the points on the minus 1.5. I don't think it's going to fall on a 1. I think they'll win by more than that, and I think the game goes under. So that's Wager Detective's call here. He's calling the Jaguars. If you feel more comfortable with the money line, I think at this point I don't want to lay that juice. I'm going to lay the 1.5. And I like under 51.5 as my secondary lean. I like them just the same, but I like the Jaguars to advance here. I like what they've done. I like the way they're playing. The Bills on the road, their stats, everything else. Give me the Jaguars to win this game, cover the spread, and then give me the under 51.5. This is Wager Detective. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube. Set alerts. We're only getting started. Wager Detective 3-0 yesterday. Trying to get out of the gate hot here to go on another good run today. This is January 11th, 2025. Wager Detective signing off. Thank you guys, all my supporters out there. I salute you. We love you. I'll talk to you soon.